Hey there, today I'm ranking all the characters from Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse, and before you go further, there will be spoilers if you haven't watched the movie yet, so consider yourself warned. Starting off with Peter Parker, who was well known for being a bad mentor in the first movie, and he topped that off by being a horrible parent in the second one. I cannot even comprehend how inconsiderate you have to be to put your baby into a full-blown chase of all sorts of Spider-Man going after Miles. And you know what? He deserves a tier of his own. Horrible mentor slash parent. Second on the list is Spider T-Rex, who didn't contribute too much. However, his unique design gets him a spot at B tier. Like, come on, who doesn't like dinosaurs? Next up we have Gwen, and I have mixed opinions about her. She single-handedly started and ended the movie like she was the main character, but her betrayal towards Miles is unforgivable. Maybe she'll have a better explanation in the following movie, but until then, she deserves a mild C tier. Up next we have Gwen's dad, and from Gwen's point of view, he could have made a better parental decision, but that would be too biased since Gwen had left him in the dark in the death of Peter. In the end, he had to give up his job and look the other way for his daughter. He deserves one above Gwen in the C tier. Now, one of my personal favorites, we got Spider-Punk. Now, I didn't understand what he was saying most of the time, but he's a cool dude with and without the mask. He'll definitely be our first S tier and fully deserved for him. Now we have Miles' dad, who had a few solid lines that gets him a spot at B tier.
Spider-Man, why did you create that guy? I did.
Following next, Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, who was pregnant and engaging in combat throughout the movie, definitely gets to share a spot with Peter Parker. Next, Spider-Cat, and same with the T-Rex, a cool Spidey. Now we have one of our best, Lego Spider-Man, and due to how reliable he is, he gets a definite spot in A tier. Lila, who gets to enjoy Miguel's suffering, is an interesting yet a mysterious character, and for the time being, a B tier should be a fine fit for her. Next up we have Margot, another interesting Spider-Man who majorly relies on tech support. From eating Fritos chips to working a multi-dimensional network from home, and not to mention how she rizzed up Miles, she has a place in the A tier. Now we have Mayday, which I wish she had a more responsible dad. But nonetheless, a cute spider like her deserves nothing less than A tier. This guy, who apparently had one job to make sure they cornered Miles and failed miserably, gets dunked straight to D tier. Now we got my man Miguel. After showing how much of a sigma he was with his dark past and luscious gains, just look at those muscles, and viciously chasing down Miles and giving him the best motivational speech ever, he's a A tier contender. Now we got to Miles, the main character who does not act like one. In this movie, I feel like he had a better character development after what he had to face, and he should probably deserve a break with everything falling apart for him. Honestly, he would be put one above Miguel just to infuriate him more. Spider-Noir, who was one of the main casts from the first movie, barely got any screen time, going solely on his introduction from the first movie. He is a badass and gets a solid A tier. The Spidey from India, who gets provoked when he hears chai tea, Javier, hope I didn't butcher the pronunciation, is a unique culturally represented Spider-Man who has an amazing hair genetics. Gets a B tier, no questions asked. Next up we have Penny Parker, who looked miserable, probably due to her canon event being the third Impact, so I'll put her at low B cause she seems like she needs a break. Continuing on, Spider-Ham, who didn't have the most screen time, is still a solid Spidey, and I genuinely wonder how an interaction between him and the Spider UK would go down. Either way, I'm gonna put him at C tier cause he's kinda haram. Up next we have the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. Had a single line and delivered it perfectly. Let's put him in A tier. Now we have Miles' mom, Rio, who's a baddie. But she really didn't help Miles in terms of fully supporting him. Can't really judge her though, cause I don't know how it is to have a superhero child. Gotta put her at C, but it is open for debate to put her above as well. Now we have Spectacular Spider-Man, and he was as beautiful as the day we lost him. However, I was disappointed with his actions in the movie. My guy straight up was ready to give up Miles with no hesitation, and it was heartbreaking to see him so out of character. Hate to put him at D tier. Max Bourne, aka Spider-Man 2211, was completely underwhelming in the movie. My guy didn't even notice Miles was holding onto his backpack and looked very pathetic. Can't put him above D tier. Up next we got Spider-Man Earth 67, who claims he can do everything others can, and that aged like fine wine. Gotta place him in C tier. Now we got the main meal, the antagonist, Spot. My man made Miles' career as a Spider-Man, and in return he got bageled into being a white thing with mysterious holes. Bro's got the sickest theme song, up there with Miguel's, and I know for sure he's plotting something big for the next movie. I mean, he's bound to do something with his new Black Air Force energy. He definitely deserves S tier. Next up we got Sun Spider, who was being a simp for Miles honestly. I can't really blame her though. She's a C tier unit. Now we got the double trouble, web-slinger and his horse Widow, which both have spider powers, were one of a kind duo. Really like their vibes, A tier units. And finally, I saved the best for last. My personal favorite, we got Scarlet Spider. Now hypothetically, if I ever was a Spider-Man, I know for sure that I'd be straight up like him. This guy got two moods. Thinking about his agonizing past, which he reflects on a daily basis, and the other one being beaten by his own intrusive thoughts. My guy was having an internal dialogue and a narrative every second. And cherry on top, his muscle definition would make anyone super jealous. If I had them big guns, I'd be flexing left and right as well. With all this considered, I think it is obvious he's on top of S tier. And yeah, that concludes this tier list.